What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. Jalen Phillips has decided he wants to talk, so we're gonna listen to him. We did an episode yesterday. He was the top story. He's the top story again today. So he was asked by reporters about the Dolphins starting this season 0-3, and he's been with the team a number of years now. So he's seen a lot of iterations of this team. He's seen us start fast, he's seen us start slow. So he had this perspective on the matter. He said, I've seen almost every year on both sides of how things change in an instant. You can go on a winning streak and then lose a bunch of games and vice versa. So I think what's important is to take it week by week and not be concerned about our record now or anything like that. Obviously, it's a pressing issue. Look, we need to start winning games, but it's not a death sentence for us and it's not indicative of how the rest of the season is going to go. So for those of you who follow the Dolphins, obviously you're watching this channel. Thank you. He was part of the team with Brian Flores where we started the year 1-7, but finished the year 9-8, which I think may be the template that fans who are still holding out hope this year are kind of feeling. Where 1-7, worst team in the league, tank for Tua, blah 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 blah, right? And then all of a sudden, long winning streak, and it was a lot of defense, it was a lot of grit, it was a lot of just kind of making it happen. The schedule got a little nicer during that time as well, but to go on a winning streak in the league at any point requires people being locked in week over week over week, game plans being good, limiting mistakes. We get it. We've also seen us have the division in hand by a 3 game lead and then not win the division because down the stretch we just completely collapsed. We've seen both sides of it. So I think his perspective is valid. Also, it mirrors how he's played in the league. He's not part of Kansas City or Buffalo where every year, 11, 12, 13 wins is like expected. He's on the Dolphins where it was 9-8, 9-8, 8-9. Like, yeah, that's what I'm used to. 10-7 in there, right? He's used to being about 8 wins, up to 10, never the one seed, never number one pick in the draft. He's been somewhere in the middle. He's right. Things can change in a heartbeat. We remember the year, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. It was Ben's last year with Pittsburgh. They started 10-1. They basically clinched the playoff berth like right around Thanksgiving. It was crazy. But then they lost every game for the rest of the season and lost the first game in the playoff. And people were like, Philadelphia had the same situation the year after the Super Bowl. They went, I think they started 10-0 or 9-0, somewhere in that range. And then they just like lost out and then got beat up by Tampa in the playoffs. And people said, what happened there? And it's like, that's the thing. You can go on a long winning streak. You could be what Minnesota was last year. Minnesota was awesome last year. They only really couldn't beat Detroit, who was also a great team. Got to the playoffs, mopped up, and it was like, what happened? You've been awesome all year. I don't know. We just didn't show up. So 0-3 is not the end of the year. It just makes your possibilities of getting to the playoffs very, very difficult. It just makes your room for error way smaller. Yes, you can make the playoffs. Of course you can. But you gotta you gotta win a couple games you probably weren't supposed to win, meaning you are not favored to win, and we gotta win. Yes, of course. You gotta get a little lucky too. Right now, Houston's 0-3. That might be luck for us. I had Houston going to the playoffs for sure, and they might still get there, but I had them getting in for sure. A team, the Broncos are 1-2 and could easily be 3-0, but just refuse to win games at the end. Don't know what they're doing, but that happens. So we started out bad. Game one, destruction. Games two and three, we could have won, or at very least, we feel like we were in the games long enough. So I think it's good perspective. I don't think he wasn't even like shooting bail like, oh, it's not that bad. It was just kind of like we can come through this. Don't don't bail on us yet. Don't quit on us yet. Like there's something else here, so we'll take him at his word. We got a couple of insider stories. The first one is from Tom Pelissaro, who apparently he's been talking to some people because there's been a few reporters kind of reporting the same information. Tom has a little bit bigger cachet than most, so when he says something, people listen. He was talking to I guess, some insiders about why the offense is not doing so well, and more specifically, why Tyreek has not been like Tyreek. Again, 2 years ago, 1,799 yards, first team All Pro, voted number one player in the league by his peers. And then, man, so here is what he had to say. Okay. The thing I was told is holding Tyreek Hill back is Tua Tagovailoa. It's not that Tua can't play. It's that Mike McDaniel has to run an offense to protect Tua. Think about it, Steve. You're running an offense with a quarterback that you cannot allow to get hit. It's a timing offense. These longer developing concepts that also need to be on time. Can you allow Tua to sit back there that long with the injury concerns that the Dolphins have for Tua? You can't. I mean, that's a it's a pretty succinct thing. Like, I mean, you boil it down, it's basically the Dolphins can't produce explosive plays on offense because those require more time to run routes. But you can't take time to run routes because you can't block long enough for that to develop. But also, if you take time to run those routes, you put Tua at risk. And if Tua gets hit, the season is over. So we can't put Tua at risk, but we also can't run long routes because we can't block long enough. And so what you have here is a negative on both sides. I want to run deep, but we can't block. So we run short, and we run short, teams sit on short. And so we don't break tackles, and the offense takes forever to matriculate the ball down the field. And then what you end up having is a boring Dolphins offense with amazingly dynamic talent because at the two most central positions, the offensive line and the quarterback, you have question marks. Not questions about whether Tua can play. It's can he get touched? Every time Tua gets sacked, I pull back. He's gotten hit a few times this year, more than I want to see. Especially those blindside hits, because the right side has been an abomination. He's gotten hit a lot. He scrambled a couple times, like, get down. He's done that a couple times. But yeah, you can't run. If they're playing a cover too high, they're basically taking away any deep shot anyway. There are small windows to hit deep passes. We've seen those before. But they do take longer to develop. And if our line was intact, which they will be theoretically in 2 or 3 weeks, I imagine you'll see an uptick in the offense as well. Once the old line is more solid, Tua feels like I can sit back here and wait without being hit, then we can run deeper routes. Then we can start taking deeper throws. Ideally, those will be completed. And now the offense goes from 9 plays, 60 yards, 5 minutes to, you know, 4 or 5 plays, 60 yards, touchdown. Because now we can get them in chunks. But right now, everything's hard. Like the offense is tough. Like the receivers are frustrated. They're running downfield. A lot of cardio happening. And the cardio is happening because by the time they break that 15, 20-yard barrier, pockets collapsing. Tua's either sacked, scrambling, running for his life, or just dumped the ball off already. So now you just ran, beautiful route down the field. You look back, dump off to the vine. And you want to be like, come on, Tua, hit me. But then when you look at the film, like the All 22, the film that the players get to look at, we look at the film and you see, oh, the right side broke down in 1.3 seconds. That's why he didn't throw the ball deep. How could he? The minute you see a flash of a jersey from your blind side, and I know it's your blind side, whatever, you got to get out of there. If not, the sack is coming. You try to throw the ball late, hit the hand, fumbles coming. We know Tua has awful ball security. He's been one of the most fortunate fumblers in the league in the last 5 years. Tua fumbles the ball a lot, but doesn't lose a lot of fumbles. I don't know why. His hand size is average to above average. Maybe because he's left-handed. I don't know what it is. He fumbles a lot, but he gets a lot of his fumbles back. So we don't think of it as like a negative, but it's a lot of things happen with the offense. I think teams may have keyed in on some of the things we do well, and they're taking those things away, which is what you should do. But then, because our offense is based on timing, when timing is off from the O line to the receivers, what do? We talked about Tua losing his like anticipatory superpowers. It's because the timing is in fact off. Like it's easy to anticipate and make throws and reads when everybody's working at their highest level. When guys are coming back from injury, they're not as quick, their routes aren't as sharp, the O line's not blocking, windows are smaller. Then you say, oh, they're not making those tight window throws and things look less flowy because they are in fact less flowy. Things are harder. Windows are tighter. Linebackers are backing up. Safeties are crouching down when they think the ball might go in that little mid zone. Our receivers are short. Tua's not tall. The line's not blocking. It's a lot of things stacking. And of course, we don't run the ball, which can actually alleviate a lot of these problems because we're down a lot. So now you're behind in the game, so you can't run the ball, or at least you run the ball less. And now teams that were already built to stop deep passes, already perfectly set to just keep doing what they were doing already, Then you try to force a deep throw because you try to get some points back and yards back in chunks. You throw a pick. Now the other team gets back on the field, scores again, puts you further behind the 8 ball, and that's a cycle. You get down, you start pressing, make a mistake, you get down more, you keep pressing, it just keeps going. And that's kind of what the cycle's been, unfortunately. I think we can break it, of course, but it's frustrating. We got another insider. This is Jeremy Fowler, who you've probably heard about for years. He's a long-term insider. Was talking about the Chiefs and that the Chiefs will be fine offensively because they're getting Rashid Rice and they're getting oh my god, second receiver, Xavier Worthy. Oof. They're getting both of those guys back relatively shortly, in the next 3 to 4 games. Plus, Tyquan Thornton has emerged. Marquise Brown has something. Juju's if he's your fourth receiver, you're doing pretty good. But he talked about the Chiefs are still not good at running the ball. Isaiah Pacheco, I don't know what happened to him. It feels like he just don't got the sauce no more. Kareem Hunt is over 30, very physical runner, great by the goal line, but not an every down kind of dude. They just dumped Clyde Edwards-Helaire because he wasn't producing. So in Fowler's, I don't know, prospective trade, he has Jaylen Wright being traded to Kansas City for a number of reasons. One, Jaylen Wright, when he gets back with the team, is now going to be in some version of a running back 2 times share Ollie Gordon. I think Ollie's done enough to get some carries. Jaylen may have been number 2 going into the year. Ollie has done nothing but say, hey, I need more. He's bigger. He's great in short yardage. He can also receive. He's cheaper. He's younger. I mean, stop me with more reasons, right? So Jaylen may not want to just be one of the number 2 backs because Devon is clearly number 1. Because if you're the second number 2 back, you're talking, 4 to 6 carries a game for a team that doesn't really run the ball that much already? Like, he said in the off season, I think he'd be one of the best backs in the league. He will not be one of the best backs in the league on this team because he won't get the timeshare. He won't get the carries. He won't get the touches. That's just the way it is. Devon is everything. He's our best receiving back. He's our most explosive back. Like, he's our most senior of the backs. Like, he has all the things going for him. So you're not going to step on his timeshare unless he gets hurt. Knock on wood, he doesn't. So him being traded to a team like Kansas City, as much as I don't want to see it, it actually makes sense for his own career because, one, he's cheap and Kansas City is up against the cap, so they can't really pay anything. They will probably give us some kind of draft pick back. Some people think we overdrafted him in the first place. So if we can get like a 4th-round pick back for a guy we drafted in the 3rd, that feels almost like an even exchange. And 2, once he gets to KC, he plays differently than the other 2 backs who play a lot do. He's a little bit more dynamic. He's a better receiver. He's younger. I think that makes him obviously more valuable. And again, he's the cheapest. So the trade makes a lot of sense on the surface. I don't want to see Kansas City get any better. I'll tell you that. I don't want them getting all 4 of their receivers. And now you got Jaylen Wright, who has something to prove and is still cheap for another 2 years after this, which means like he could just keep growing with the team, which made me sick to my stomach. But the trade does make sense for a number of reasons. Like the Dolphins, I think if they had a choice, might be like, Ali might be the guy we've been kind of hoping someone would emerge as for a long time. We have him for another 3 years for basically no money. Being such a late round pick, we're not paying him anything. And he's just like kind of fresh because last year was awful for Oklahoma State. Like, I think it all makes sense. It really depends on what the compensation would be draft wise. Again, this is floated by Jeremy Fowler. I haven't heard anything from the team directly. I haven't heard anything from Kansas City's team saying they think this is going to happen. This is just something that he said, look out for it. It could be a thing to happen, and I'm looking forward to seeing if it does. Now, one of the first moves the Dolphins made in the offseason was signing Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. Bumbling my words. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine from Tennessee, who last year was awesome. He had 9 touchdowns last year. He was a big play threat, one of the bigger yards per catch guys in the league. He's easily our tallest wide receiver. We signed him, 2-year deal. We're thinking, all right, we finally have a tall receiver threat. And he was competing with Malik Washington for the number 3 receiver spot, and Malik simply was better. No shade to it. Malik already knew the system. He plays similar to the other 2 receivers. He just seems to be a little more versatile, a little bit more juice, right? But Nick, because we got rid of Jonnu Smith, has kind of had an interesting role where we got him to be this big play down the field threat receiver. But then we don't throw the ball downfield to any of our receivers, especially him. Like he doesn't get any looks, and we don't even throw the ball that deep anyway. So what he was brought in to do, we don't really do anymore. Because Johnny was out, one of the roles that tight ends serve is to kind of occupy the middle of the field. They run a lot of slants, they run a lot of just like kind of dig routes right in the middle of the field at the linebacker, right past the linebacker in front of the safety. They're in that space. What we've chosen to do is run Nick on a lot of those kind of routes while not making him a tight end. So he occupies the same space, which occupies the eyes of the defense, and then we make throws around that. So he's been, for lack of a better term, a big diversion for our team. Now, he's a wide receiver. I'm totally fine with him like doing all this stuff. I'm certain he wants catches. I'm certain he wants touchdowns. He caught 9 last year. He had to be feeling like I'm going to a much better offense than Tennessee's offense. I'm about to get some money. And then that's not what we're doing. I mean, we're paying him, but he's not getting money on the field. So Coach McDaniel said that catches are going to come. We're happy with what he's doing now. It just the balls aren't going his way. Apparently, the touchdown that Tyreek caught against Buffalo, the play that happened on was designed to go to Nick, but he got double covered in the middle of the field because they spied him and said, "Hey, that guy's tall, goal line, look out for him." And then Tyreek slipped out and got open. So the primary was Nick. He just didn't get the ball. So maybe that was the idea. Let's give him his first touchdown in the red zone. He's tall, throw it up. I get that. He's going to get looks at some point. I don't know how that's going to work out, like where he's going to be on the field. Because if we get Waller back this week, I'm saying if because there's always a possibility, right? If we get him back, then he will go back to playing that traditional tight end role, which means that middle of the field that Nick has been occupying, he won't need to do so anymore. Which I guess will mean he will go to an outside receiver, which will bump Jaylen or Tyreek back to an inside receiver, which I don't mind. I would love to see Jaylen in the slot. I don't like Jaylen on the outside because he's not a particularly physical receiver, especially at the top of his routes. He doesn't like receivers do a lot to get space. Some of it is just over offensive pass interference. These guys be just two hands shoving. I'm like, bro, come on, that's a penalty. But a lot of it is they get close. They give you they get a little chicken wing. Sometimes they like tug your jersey and do like they kind of pull themselves off your jersey to get. They do a lot of the little things that receivers do. Just watch. They do a lot. But Jaylen basically runs his routes very fast and pretty crisp. But I don't see a lot of that like guile in his routes. And when you're on the sideline and you're fast, they can almost kind of ride you up the sideline rail. You throw Jaylen in the middle, throw Nick on the outside, let his height be a thing. He can run deep, let Jaylen work underneath. I like that a lot. I think it's a much more natural place for Nick. Obviously, a more natural place for Jalen Waddle. And of course, whenever Darren Waller plays, he will be in the middle. So I think that will help out both of them in their individual routes. So I know some of y'all were like, when we got him, oh, this is going to be dope. That guy was in my fantasy team. He was really good. And he came to the Dolphins, and he basically has been a non-factor. It's not because we don't know he's there. It's not because we don't plan on using him. He just hasn't been his day. It just hasn't been his day. And when it's not your day, it's not your day. When you don't get the targets, you don't get that look in practice. Like maybe you were doing things in practice and coach kind of pulls some confidence from you. And then you do get in a game and you run around and you kind of like, oh no, I broke it off too short. And coach is like, come here, son. That's not your night. Take a seat. Like, all right. But I believe that he will make an impact at some point this year. I don't know who it's going to be against. I think Tua needs taller receiver with bigger catch radiuses because, again, he's always trying to like thread needles and drop passes and buckets. It's cool to just go back and just kind of like throw it up and let Nick go get some money for you. It's like, oh, thank God. I don't have to be as accurate as I normally have to be with Tyreek and Jaylen, where they're one fast but two short. So they're getting to spots like, and they can only catch the ball here. Well, you got Nick, who's relatively fast, but just also a much bigger body. I could just let that boy go. Whoop. Let him go out there and get a chance at making a catch. Just make a chance, and he'll make a few of those. And then in the red zone, of course, he should be a bigger option. Fades are always in style. We'll see what can happen there. But for those wondering, why isn't he playing more? What's his impact going to be? Is he a bust? No. He's just hasn't been his day yet. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and the subscribes. I'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.